Alrighty, guys, it's Aussie Grim here again with another mega build in Valheim on my Adventure Time server. We're going to go down the road here from the crossroads to the main city that I've been working on. It's a Lord of the Rings inspired city after Edoras, the home of the Rohirrim. Uh, that was the crossroads back there. We're going to head up the road and we're going to be heading into probably the biggest project that I've built on this server. So it's going to be a little bit longer of a video because it's going to take us a while to get through the city. But if you guys like this kind of content, make sure that you like, subscribe, and share down below. It always helps out the channel. We'd really like to grow and share some of our more larger projects with you. But here we are. We're at the lower part of the city here, just after sunrise. We'll come in. The city encompasses both of the mountain tops and everything from the coastline and up. But we're going to start down here in the port of the city. And this is, of course, the docks of the city of Balderrock. As you can see, it's not the biggest dock area, but that's because it's just docks to service the city. We got, a little bit of a trade district and some of the utilitarian stuff for people to work on boats and ships out here. There's a tavern that sailors can drink at, and of course the fish stalls and traders that you can come to. And we'll come out here, and as you can see, the city goes all the way up and over the mountains, but we've got some houses here. We'll probably not go into all of the houses in this city because it's super big, but all of them are decorated. If you guys have been watching my walkthrough videos, you know that I spend as much time making sure that I flesh out all the little details of every city that I build, so that there's no such thing as just a set piece or a decoration that just sits there. But I think as far as decorative aspects in a city go, Balderrock has the most that are just for looks, but that's because it's so big. But you can see here we got some farmland that sits between the port portion of the city and the main city up the way here. But we're going to come through up the hill here, keep looking. You guys get a good view of everything that we've got going on here. This is the crossroads to the Ancestors Road, which we'll see a little bit later, and the road that heads up into the valley portion of the city here. So we've got some larger houses that we go up to here. Some two-story Anglo-Saxon sort of inspired medieval European homes that I tried to follow that design. You could see with like the overhang. Wish we could do white. It'd be really nice. I'm sure some of that stuff might be coming in the future. But yeah, we got houses along the road, just like this here, like a nice centerpiece fireplace. Try to make every house that I build sort of unique with its own roof designs and side designs, so that each house has its own sort of personality. And that's the gate into the main center portion of the city. We'll be going to that. We're going to be going through the valley portion of the city here, where we've got lots and lots of homes for people to live at. And of course we've got the Hidden Valley Inn here, where travelers can stay, and there's plenty of rooms for people to stay in, downstairs as well as upstairs. We'll go through here and have a look at all the different rooms that are available at our inn here in the city. Got these fun little windows that were kind of interesting to build into the side of the roof here, so that there was some ventilation. It was kind of fun, a little tedious, a little frustrating, but I got it done. Of course, we've got an outdoor area with a garden and a kitchen for cooking for the people who are staying at the end. Some grain silos uh, and some more houses. This is kind of my favorite little house. This is Phil's house. Uh, I always try to build a Phil's house in every one of my homes, or in every one of the cities that I build. Phil's that guy. He's a little eccentric. Kind of marches to the beat of his own drum. Doesn't build like everybody else. He likes color, likes to express himself. We all love Phil. We all know a Phil. Hell, some of us are Phil. But yeah, little details in each city. A little bit of a trade district, or a little market here on the temple side of the mountains, the Twin Mountains. But we'll come back up there in just a second. We're going to do a quick run through down through the valley portion of the city itself. Each home has been built up. You know, each little thing. There's a lot to this city, and spent a lot of time planning it out and trying to make sure that each little area had its own personality and some of its own cool and interesting places for people to live. And got some gardens here along the outer wall. Some of these homes here. I'm trying not to go too fast, but so everybody gets a good look at everything. Got the nice windmill up in the middle of the city there, and of course a smokehouse, and a little bit of a kitchen in the outdoor for some of the people who live in the smaller area, the housing area of the city, just outside the inn. And as we get closer, we'll start to see some of these houses get a little bit bigger. And so what we're going to do is we're going to head up to the temple side of the city, where I've built the Temple of Worms. I try to imagine the people who live here in Balderrock are dragon worshippers, warriors, and the like, have settled here generations ago and worshiped the dragons of the mountains. We'll just head up to the temple here. We'll have a good look at the temple from the outside that I've built up. See some of the gardens that I've built up around the outside of the temple here. Yeah, get a good look at that. And we'll head inside and take a look at some of the decorations. It's a temple, so, you know, some donations and decorations, and of course the main area in which you can do your worshiping and check some stuff out. I think it looks good. It took me a long time to build it up that tall, but we got there. I was managed to accidentally drop one of the assets that was in the game down in here, and thought I'd completely ruined the build trying to spawn in some mushrooms, and I ended up placing a cave mushroom that's is just an asset in the asset files, but I figured out a way to make it work and integrated it into the temple itself. So that's always fun. And we'll come out here and we'll take a look at the city proper from the temple platform, which I think is probably one of the best views of the city from up here. But as you can see, there's the city proper up on the other mountaintop over there. You can look down into the valley at all of the pieces of the village that I've built on. And we'll come over here real quick, and you can look down and get a good view of everything going down into the down to the port area along this side of the city. So we'll head down and we'll wrap around the Ancestors Road. It's a good time of the day to do that. It's sort of my interesting little decorative pieces that I was talking about. I wanted to sort of create this region of the city where, there were tombs and graveyards where the members of the city would bury their loved ones and come and visit their graves and so on and so forth. Not a lot of grave related assets to build with in the game, but I think I managed to make it look as good as I could. Bear in mind, a lot of this stuff was built before the Mistlands, so some of the Blackstones and other really interesting assets that they added with that, I definitely would be using for future builds with graveyards and darker themed things in mind. But we do have some more family tombs and stuff along the side of the mountain as we wind back around along the Ancestors Road, back to that area we came up from. Oh, we got ourselves a Fuhrling. It's getting killed and doesn't start breaking my walls. Spawns are always a problem when you build this big. I've put down as many fires and workbenches as I can, but I never can quite seem to overlap them well enough to keep them from spawning in the main portions of my cities. And when they do, they like to run around and break stuff, the little turds. But we deal with them where we can. But once again, before we head into the city proper, we're going to head down over here. These I added a little bit later. These ballista were really cool when they added Mistlands, and I felt like they were a perfect addition to sort of this outer wall with the coastal watchtower. You can see here I built this battle turret or watchtower that gets a really, really good view out over the port side of the city. And of course there's living space for soldiers and stuff in here. And we've got a couple more things in the valley portion of the city that we can go and look at. We'll go out that western gate and look at the lumber mill that I built. It's another kind of set piece, but I'll take one good look at that windmill. I'm really proud of that. I think it looks good. It was kind of troublesome to put on a rock, but I didn't want to knock the rock out. I wanted to keep it here and sort of use it. I always try to integrate the natural flow of the procedurally generated world into my cities and mega builds to see if I can make them work. I think they tend to be more beautiful from that perspective. But here's the lumber mill, of course, and there we've got ourselves a Deathsquito that's decided to spawn in and fart around inside of there. We'll go ahead and kill him and his little buddy that was over there. Hopefully I don't get an event while I'm doing the recording. They like to have me do events all the time while I'm building, and I have to stop the event. It's always a pain in the butt, especially when the ground is rumbling. So, but now we're going to head up and into the city proper, where things start to get a little more congested, because it is like a city. It's very close together. The houses have been sort of built up around this massive citadel of Balderrock. But we're going to head in through the main gates of the city, of the main city here, or city proper. And you see that you got the guardhouse here that overlooks the main gate. Of course, every good citadel has murder holes. And you can follow the wall along here to some of the other living quarters, but we're going to head back this way first. We're going to go through the governor's house, and of course by that I mean this is my house that I built for myself. It's where my bed is here in this town. It's got a kind of an interesting feel to it. I think what happened there was I had some mods that added equipment, and then I disabled those mods, and now it's gone. So that's fine. But this is a sort of fun wraparound 2-story with a really cool balcony that overlooks a bunch of the city, and you can see the Temple Mount over there. And so we'll head back down and get some more of these things that I've got built up in the city here. We'll see this apartment stack. We'll go into the lower apartment of this apartment complex. Another couple of trophies missing. I'm thinking that those were assets that got removed because I was running like a loot mod that added a bunch of equipment. And they looked really cool, so I was decorating with them. But I think they disappeared afterwards. But there's the lower apartment of this particular apartment building. And of course, this is the Assorted Affair dining pavilion. It's like the restaurant here in the city where people come to eat and enjoy their company and sit around. And then we'll come up over here past the Threads of Fate linens and hides dealer. This is where you would come to get clothing and leather made. And we'll go, here's the main entrance to the Citadel on the mountaintop itself. We'll be going up there shortly. But we're going to go here into the upper apartment of this apartment stack. This is the upper floor that you could come and live in. And we got some houses that hang over the cliffs, as you've seen from below. This is one of the cliff homes that you can get. And then here's another one that overhangs the cliffside with a really good view of the port down there and the rest of the city. And then there was, of course, my ill-fated attempt at making a bunkhouse. Bunk beds are a little bit difficult to pull off, but you can technically have bunk beds. They just don't look quite as good as I'd hoped they did, but hey, it is what it is, and we work with it. So, of course, we're going to head in a little bit further to this portion of the neighborhood. There is the last stop pawn brokerage before we get to the Broken Gate. The Broken Gate is sort of where the slums of the city begin. It's kind of a seedy area of town between here after the pawn brokerage, because we head up into some of these upper apartments that are a little more derelict. Sort of the poor people in the city might take up residence here. This might be where some of the less desirable business takes place, but nonetheless, this is where people would live in the inner city, such a congested area. But we're going to head back down. We'll go past this house and the apartment stacks behind the governor's mansion, and along the wall we'll get to the End of the World Tavern, which I loved the way that this build ended up being. So it's got beautiful views, but unfortunately I incidentally brought in another cave mushroom while I was trying to put mushrooms in as candles, not paying attention to what I was spawning, and so we're forever stuck with this big blue monstrosity in the World's End Tavern. But I suppose I'm allowed a few mistakes on builds this big. So we'll follow the wall back around through the gatehouse, the main gate. You can see that's up to the Assorted Affair dining pavilion, and the way up into the upper city from there. We'll follow the wall along here. Some more good views. And of course there is the blacksmith, arm's length, arms and armor. We can jump over there and have a look at the inside of that. This is a nice little blacksmith shop built into the city wall. It's a very big build. I didn't realize how big it was until I'm sitting here talking about it. But yeah, it's been a lot of work building up. We're going to go into the East Wall apartments here. So there's other hanging apartments that, you know, what I would think of as sort of like middle class, but affordable apartments nonetheless, that are attached to the citadel itself. Little apartments. It was a fun little build. Wish I could have done more with it, but it's very close together. But now we will start to head up and into the main citadel, or the fortress of Balderrock. So, as you can see here, this is the fortress of Balder. And there's that gate down by the Threads of Fate, which also has a great view of the city from up here. And we'll head up to the interior of the fortress. And so this is sort of the fortress courtyard. And over here we'll see like an area where the soldiers might be spending some time along the inner wall. But what we have here is the Valley Garrison Tower, which is built into the citadel itself, which you can follow around to what's called the God's Walk. And this is the God's Walk, but we're going to go down to the Woodland Watchtower. This watchtower, I hate it with a passion. I wanted to make a spiraling watchtower, and I kind of succeeded, but something was off down in the bottom. And that's something when you build this big, if something is not snapped together properly, and you don't notice it when you get 5 to 8 blocks up, and you then realize that something is not quite symmetrical, it gets way more off. And so I had to just sort of limp through getting this watchtower built. I'm not the happiest with it. I don't think it looks terrible, but I got something wrong, and it just did not turn out like I wanted it to. But it's where it's at, and it looks okay. So, it's fine. This is the goblins' side. They attack it a lot, that's what we'll say. And so it takes a lot of punishment. But, alright, so we're going to head up to the God's Walk, which is the outer wall that connects the various inner towers of the citadel. And this is the coastal watch garrison, as you can see. Cliffside garrison is what I've been calling it. And what this does is this takes you up to the top of the citadel. But we're going to go in real quick and take a look at the interior of the citadel itself. As you can see, this is sort of a meeting area and a dining hall where soldiers and military personnel would come in and spend their time. And of course, there's the main entrance that we saw coming in from the main gate there into the citadel. And so we'll zip back out to the coastal garrison house and up to the top of the citadel, which of course is where you can get some really beautiful views of the port side, as well as other parts of the city. You can see here, you can look down over the coastal region of the city itself. And because this is an Edoras inspired build, I wanted to create the beacons of Gondor and Rohan, and that's the best approximation I can do. We'll get a good look of that when we do some of the other panoramics. But this is, of course, the top floor of the citadel, loaded with lots and lots of supplies, ready to have a siege of some sort. And of course, we can look out from here, from the citadel peak over to the temple peak that distinctly separates the two sides of the city across the valley. And this was a lot of fun to build, but I'm at the point where I really need to do mega builds with some of the new assets, and because this sort of followed that Anglo-Saxon sort of Rohirrim theme with the sort of swooping thatch roofs, which I think look really good. It needed to be finished so that I could really start to have more fun with some of the other building materials in the game. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna jump down over here, pew, and we'll head over because the best view I think of the city is from the Temple Mount, looking out over the Citadel at just this time of day. Or in reality, sometimes it's really nice to take a look at the city at night. And so what we'll do is we'll go to my little perch over here on the Temple Mount side of the city here, and we'll do a nice panoramic right at sunrise. You know, the whole city from side to side. I think just looks wonderful. Just has a wonderful feel and aesthetic to it. I hope I did a good job. I feel like I am. What I think we'll do is we'll change the time of day to the middle of the night so you can see what this place looks like when the sun is down. It's awfully nice as well. We'll go with 7:4. There we go. Yeah, we can take a look-see at the nighttime sky just after sunset. And it's a sort of beautiful aesthetic. You can go into fly mode and go up and just take a really nice look at the city as we go around. Probably my biggest build as far as land size is concerned. It encompasses 2 mountaintops here in the plains and goes all the way down to the coastline there. A lot of work, but a lot of fun. I really hope you guys enjoyed walking through Balderrock with me and talking about some of the stuff that I built. And I really hope that you guys like and subscribe, support the channel. It really helps out. I look forward to sharing some of my other really big mega builds that I'm working on. And I've got some other mega builds that I'm super excited to get started on and sharing all of those with you. So until next time, you guys have a great day.